Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So I'm just coming back in with this Hunkydory card topper pad, the Festive Florals, but not making Christmas cards, more birthday cards today. Today I'm going to be playing with the Christmas roses. So let's just pop that to the side for the second. And the first card is going to be super simple, a little tent fold card. I've already taken a piece of 6x12 300 GSM white cardstock, just scored it at the halfway point of that 6 inches to create a lovely 6x6 card. And then I'm going to be doing something I don't usually do, but I'm going to be, instead of using the gold or silver mirri, I'm going to be using some light purple, lilac I guess it is, adorable scoreable. Now I'm not sure if it's this year's set, it's just from my stash. And I'm just going to cut myself my normal size mat, which is 2 notches under the 6, and I'm going to do that on 2 sides. I don't throw these sort of pieces away, they're perfect for foiling on if you've got a Spellbinders foiling machine, or one of the old Gemini ones. So I'm just going to pop that to the side for now. So that's our mat. And I've already taken a piece from a pad, I think it's the Watercolour Fades, Watercolour Dreams and Colour Fades. I used it last time. It's a beautiful pad, and it does come in for so many different things. And then I've just popped it through. Do you remember I said last time that you can emboss on these papers? And just to sort of prove it really, that's what I've done. I've gone in with the Hunkydory script embossing folder and just put a beautiful little script along there. And then I'm just going to cut this mat to 5 3/4, keeping more of that purple in there. So now we've got that sort of lilac fading through. And you can see it's very purple card, this one. Okay, and those bits will go back in the pad, and I think that's all I need for now. Let's pop this onto the card. I will be bringing the border in out of the card pad. I don't think it says Christmas, I will double check. But just because this is paper, I'm just going to use my Hunkydory dotty tape pen on those corners. Oops. And then I can use my all-purpose glue. I've got a bit of a sore throat today, so if my voice cuts out every now and then, I do apologise, but bear with me, we'll get there. So that's something there. You could even go with a deeper purple if you wanted the darker purple. But I did want to keep it quite muted, quite gentle. Now we're on the cardstock of that adorable scoreable. We can pop that on and onto our card. And this, like I say, this is a super simple one. I mean, I know I did that embossing beforehand, but that is a super quick mat and layer. Let me just manoeuvre that into position. Just saw out of the corner of my eye it wasn't quite straight. There we go, I think that's better. Yeah, much better. Much better. Okay, so let's come in, and I'm going with, like I say, I'm going with these purples. And I'm going with this long topper here. So let's pop that out. So this is going to be pretty much all over my card. Now I'm also, the only sentiment I'm using on this card is gifting a bunch of happiness, because I think that is quite birthday-ish. I was looking through all of my little books and things. I didn't find anything that I liked, and I haven't foiled anything myself recently, just with everything going on, being ill like recently and stuff. It's I haven't foiled for a little while. And if I just grab my little guillotine, and I'm just going to neaten that edge up. And I'm going to cut this to 5 3/4. That's going to go, we're going to have that a little higher. Obviously we're not going to have all of those layers on that. That is going to be the, oh sorry, the essence of my card. A couple of gems, etc. That's going to be it. I did say this one is really simple. So let's keep that. Let's put this in place first of all, just so that we don't put it too high or too low, whatever. If I pop that along there. And I'm going to go with my usual 2mm foam pads. Let's cut these in half. So most of the levels on this are going to be 2mm. I'm probably going to do that border flat and then have that little sentiment, the gifting bunch of happiness at 2mm as well. So I'm just working my way around. And I'm going to put a little one there. Let's just pop that in there. Okay, stand that up for a minute because that's just starting to leak. And I don't need it for a minute. So just taking all of these backs off. And round. And we will pop some purple glue stick on. Got a special deal on those. If I order in the next couple of days, then that is what I'm going to get, amongst other things. Let's bring this in. Let's just make sure I've got that where I want that to be, so I've got a bit of space for that at the bottom, and then we can go. Difficult with ovals to get them quite straight, I feel sometimes. See, that doesn't feel straight to me. It is a little on the wonk. So I'm going by this sort of flower here. We want those to be lining up in pretty much a straight line. So if I put that through the middle of that flower there, and we're pretty much there. So I'm going to leave it at that. And then this one. And the beauty about this topper really is, although on the sheet it is sort of landscape, you could have that portrait and it would still work. But we are going with this portrait one. So let's just pop some foam pads on the back of this one. And just in the middle, I think that should be fine. Oh, I've got one on my hands, so pop you on. So don't want to waste it. And working these backs off. And then we can pop our purple glue stick on. I like that way, it is better, but you could have it either. And it's just going to be a question of popping that in, checking your border all around, and making sure you are happy with that space. This one I'm just going to use the tacky glue on. just bring this down, pop that to the side. And we'll go that way around, I think. And then if I quickly bring this in, hopefully that's going to give us enough time to just wiggle that into position. And then, like I said, with this one, we are going to go with 2mm again. Get rid of that one. That's another piece gone. That's great. Getting quite satisfied by putting things in the bin at the minute. It's my version of tidying, I think. Okay, so we've just got a little pip there that's just caught my eye. So, gifting a bunch of happiness. You could turn this into a gift holder card, like I showed you in one of the other videos a couple of days ago, just by putting, you know, any purple themed insert in there and a little pocket to pop your card or gift card in. Then we've got to decide whether we want to go for purple or lilac. I think we'll go lilac. And again, I'm keeping this simple, and I'm just going to pop 1 in 3 corners. So we've got still got 3. You know how I like my 3s. It's just, I'm not putting one here because we've got this topper here, which is that circular representation. But that is going to be a very simple first cards, 10th fold. You could come in, if you can find something in the shape sentiments, or you might want another one with from the Essential Little Book with mum or nan or daughter or whatever. You could come in, place it here, or put another one on this side, but I'm going to keep it like that. So it can be birthday, it could be anything really with that sentiment on. But I'm just going to get set up for card number 2. Okay, so for card number 2, I'm going to do an off-centre gatefold. I'm using one of the smaller toppers on that sheet. So I've got a piece of 6x12 300 GSM cardstock. I'm going to score this at 2. No, that's at 4. And then at 2. So 2 and 4 because I got the smaller board. If you haven't got if you've got the bigger board, then you'll be able to do it at 4 and at 10. And then before I forget, what I am going to do is just take my little Hunkydory, the teeny tiny corner punch, and I'm just going to round these corners just for a different look today. This means I have to remember to do all the corner rounding on my layers, which is the thing I am not so great at sometimes. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is pop that to the side. I'm going to bring in my scoreboard. No, that's my cutting board. And I'm going to bring in that piece that we have left over from last time. Now I think this should be just slightly under, oh no it isn't, it's about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to leave it as it is that way, and I'm just going to turn that around to 3/4 of an inch that way. Now I am going to cut this down, but I wanted to do something to it first, and in order for this to match up, it's going to be easier for me to do it in one piece. So I'm going to put some diagonal lines in like I did last time. So I'm just popping this in. Do I want it at the, I could do it sort of evenly in between there, I guess. So I've just wedged it in, and I'm going to start the 4 inch, and I'm going to do the one next to it. and then I'm going to miss 2, so 1, 2, and then the next one I'm going to do 2, and then I'm going to miss 2, 1, 2, and then do again the next 2. This is when it gets complicated. 1, 2, the next 2, miss 2, mark 2, miss 2, mark 2, 1, 2, miss 2, mark 2, 1, 2. I'm not really going to see that one. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn my board around. It's going to seem weird, but it's just because the light, the way the light hits this for me. So we've done there, so we're going to miss 2 and do 2, miss 2, miss 2, and mark 2, miss 2, mark 2, miss 2, mark 2, miss 2, mark 2, miss 2. Gets harder on these smaller bits. Miss 2. That one. And hopefully we should have that nice even pattern on there. Okay. And you could vary this up. You could do an even, more advanced sort of. You could do 2 lines, miss 2, do 1 line, miss 2, do 2 lines. There's a lot of ways to make that sort of interesting. So I'm just going to check that. Still 5 3/4, and then I'm going to turn that around, and I'm going to do 1 3/4. Just going to go on that smaller side, and then we're going to do 3 3/4, which is going to go on the other side. So you can see why I just wanted to make sure that that pattern would line up, so that's why I did the embossing all as one piece. And then we can just do the silver pieces. So I'm going to take a silver mirror, and I'm going to start by cutting that at 2 notches under the 6, 2 notches under the 2, and then 2 notches under the 4. And then I want to take another piece that I'm going to take to be 1 inch. And I just need to take this to 5 3/4. That's that one. So we'll keep that piece in our bit box. And then I'm going to bring in one of the A5 Essential pads. And I'm going with the lace. Because some of these laces, the flowers are quite similar, and initially I was going to go with the purple, but then I kind of thought maybe of going with the white. Let me just double check whether I still want to go with white or whether I want to go with that purple, because the purple is darker, but I feel like that flower is similar. So let's grab that out. I think I am going to go with the purple, just because the flower is a bit more, still going to show up nicely. Yeah, we'll go with this one. So we did that piece at 1 inch, so using hardly any of this really. We're just going to take 2 notches off the inch. That will go back into the pad. And then that needs to be 5 3/4. And that should fit rather nicely along there. I can tidy that up on the guillotine if I need to. We'll pop that little piece in the bin. Okay, so let's do some assembling. So the first thing I need to remember to do is to round these corners. Now what I will say is, when you've got a directional pattern, just be careful, oops, which side you're doing these edges on. Make sure you match it up. Sorry, my hands have gone a bit weak. So I know that I want that way, so let's make sure. It doesn't matter with the silver because you can rotate it around, but this might mess up the pattern if we have got it wrong. So there we go, there's all of our little punchings done. Oh, the other thing I haven't done yet is the inside, so I had forgotten to bring something in, but let's decorate this piece first of all, and then I'll do the inside. All that needs is a trim me insert and a mirror mat. Let's just pop that on. And then this one. I find myself with such a lot of adorable scoreable at the minute. It's kind of a combination of things. I did buy a pack of the new colours, and then I got given a pack as part of the design team. And then of course sometimes with the club gift you get some. And I never, or in the past, I've never used up all the previous years. In fact, I very rarely used to use it. I used to collect it, I think. I have been a bit better at trying to use it this year, I think. And these pads are a perfect opportunity. And I was trying to look yesterday for a nice sort of Christmas or in snow embossing folder. So I've got quite a few. I've got a few snow embossing folders. My favourite is the Sue Wilson one. Let me just trim this a little bit. But obviously it's Creative Expressions, and I don't think it's available anymore. And when I was looking to see whether you could still buy it, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I didn't want to use it. So I really need to get some nice new Christmas embossing folders next year, I think. So that's going to be my piece that goes along there. And I'm not going to stick that piece down until I'm ready. Let me bring the trimmer back in. Let's bring in a piece of silver mirror again. And this one's going to go on the inside. So I'm just going to take 2 notches under the 6 by 2 notches under the 6. So those will go into, sorry for the rustling bit box there. And then we just have to pick, this is the silver happy birthday pad. Top's coming off. Close your eyes tight and make a wish. Confetti dancing cake. May this be, yeah, we'll go for this one. May this day mark the beginning of a beautiful year filled with beautiful moments. I love that sentiment. And what I'm going to do is just swap trimmers and put in the guillotine. So on the back you've got the markings. I'm just going to go, I think last time I did just go along the 6 by 6 line. So let's just do that and see where we end up. We can always trim our mirror down a little if we need to. Okay, so just going along those 6 by 6 lines, let's see. Yeah, I just need to take a little bit more. Let's try that. This is me going outside the line, so I'm always uber careful. That's fine. I don't trust things very easily, even when they are hunky-dory. So this is paper, so just a little bit of dotty, and then some all-purpose. You can pop that on, give it a good press down, because I still want it to be able to be written on. I don't want any lumps and bumps under there as it dries. And then same again here, a little bit of all-purpose, a little bit of tacky in those corners, just because I do like to put as much glue on as possible. And we just give that another good press down, and you can see that's already coming together. So let's bring in the topper. Let's go back to our page, which is this one, and this is the one I'm going to use with this little gift on, so you can see how that really isn't Christmas, completely Christmas anyway. Just wondering whether I want to take that little, let's take that out. And then for a sentiment, I found one in the shape sentiments. Stand you up a minute. So we need to go to the back, I think. It was this one with the darker purple. Wishing you a birthday as wonderful as you are. So kind of thinking, let's pop that out of the way. Obviously we're going to have some gems as well. But if we close it up, we're going to have this here, we're going to have this here. I'm going to pop this, maybe just the balance down there. Maybe we'll leave that off, maybe we won't. Yeah, maybe we'll leave that off and just come in with some gems instead. We'll go higher with that one and then lower with that one. Okay, so that's the plan. So again, this one is quite simple. So we're just going to put foam pads over one half of the side. Doesn't matter which one, which side. You can have it sticking to this one or sticking to that side. I'm going to have it sticking to that right hand side. Just feels like it needs to be, for me personally, just to balance, but you know, it's preference as so much of crafting is, you know. That's what is the most beautiful thing about crafting, really, is that you can take it any way you want. So let's pop you on there, like so. This one I'm going to go flat again. So I'm just going to use my tacky glue, just for speed, just using one. Bear with me 2 seconds. No nonsense. Well, luckily I did put that on straight before it disappeared off. So that's on to there like so, and then this one again we're going 2mm. Seems to be my foam pad of choice at the moment. Does make them slightly easier to post. Again, a little bit of that glue stick, and then we're going to pop this down there. And then gems, I'm thinking with this one, maybe the darker gems, because we've got the darker purple there. And I think I'm going to do a sort of spray. So let's go. If you pop these on gently, you should be able to move them if you are a little unhappy or it's not quite right. I'm doing 5 down that side. Three down that side, and then just to make the odd, just going to pop 1 in that corner. Could go more or less, it's up to you. But that is going to finish my card number 2. A little bit different with those shaped corners, but still super pretty and enough for a birthday, like a winter birthday. Perfect. So let's bring back it in card number 1. So those are the 2 that we've done today. Like I say, staying away from Christmas for the time being. May do a little bit nearer just to finish up any Christmas crafting I might have to do. I'm hoping it should all be done by then. But for now we will keep going with this book, at least one more video, and staying with sort of other themes to Christmas. But thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.